To get started here, we have a special bonus for everybody that attended this webinar, and Josh will put in the comments the URL and the password. You know, part of getting very good at for sale by owners is being able to handle their objections, and I've heard most of them. I also practice objection handling every single week with my team and with my coaching clients. So please write down this URL because I'm going to give you our objection handling videos. It's 20 videos that I recorded of the most common objections. And you can get those at www.objectionhandlingvideos.com. And the password, again, Josh is going to put this in the comments as well. The password is the number 5, the number 4, the number 1, the number 8, then D as in David, B as in boy, or Bob's even better, 9, C, B, J. So that's again 5418 DB 9CBJ. All right, so let's get started. So everybody, you can get right onto that. Do that at the end and so forth. Make sure you get it written down. At the end of the presentation, I'll put this slide back up again so you can take that information down. But that'll really help you to get the kind of success that I know all of us want. So let me tell you just quickly a little story about this for sale by owner program and my beliefs and so forth on how to get this working. Every single month I meet with a gentleman. He's my mentor and my business coach, and every single month we meet, and he's a multi-millionaire. And a few years ago I remember asking him, I said, Kurt, you know, you don't seem to have much stress. You're a multi-millionaire. You're very calm and everything else. Tell me what the secret is. What's the secret to you getting this kind of, you know, unheard of success? And he said, well, Bob, it's pretty easy, but you probably won't do it. And then he looked at me, and in a little bit here, I'll tell you about my background. He'll say, well, you probably will. And he tore off a little corner of this restaurant, man. It's kind of like a Denny's. It's called King's Restaurant. He tore it off, and he wrote down, and I still carry this in my wallet every single day. And I share this with everybody that I meet. He wrote down just 3 words. He said, this is the key to my success. And I said, really, 3 words? He said, this is the key. This is how I built millions and millions and many, many businesses are these 3 things. And what he wrote down was training, constant training. So please write that down. Training, constant training. You have to write that down right now, and then you have to live it and take action on it. So while you're signing up for the objection handling videos and so forth, you can also get on our free weekly objection handling mastery call. It's held every Thursday at 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. You can just listen in. You can bring me an objection to handle or role play with me. No matter what you do, it is my belief that you have to be trained, and you have to constantly train. This is a skill that you have to acquire so that you can succeed in any business. All right, so who is Bob Sank? Let me give you a little background on myself for those of you who don't know me. I'm a former high-altitude mountain guide and the owner of several other businesses. So I've led clients to the tops of some of the highest mountains in the world. And like I tell a lot of people, I got into real estate because it was the only profession that I could find more dangerous than climbing. Yeah, that's right. It was more dangerous than climbing. So on my 40th birthday, I'm 49 now, so 9 years ago, I was on a mountain in Russia called Mount Elbrus. And I was calling home to my wife and children. You know, it's hard being away all the time. It's 6, 7, 8 months a year out of the country. And I was on the phone with my wife and children. My children were crying. They really missed me. So I remember walking into the tent of one of my biggest clients, Bill, and telling him that I was going to retire, that was it. I was done. I was going to find something else to do. Well, that took me a couple years before I could get out of all my obligations and so forth for guiding. But when I came back, I had a lot of clarity. I felt very good, but I had no idea what I was going to do. And at the time, my wife and I were buying homes, fixing them up, and renting them, and I complained about the same person all the time, and that was my real estate agent. They just didn't listen to me, you know. They just wouldn't listen to what I wanted. So my wife said, look, instead of complaining about your real estate agent, why don't you just go and get your license so we can just cut them out? So I got into the business in the first place because I couldn't find an agent to represent me competently in buying and selling investment properties. So when you think about it, I became a for sale by owner agent. That's right, I became an agent just so I could buy and sell my own properties. But I discovered that I was pretty good at it, and I liked it. In my first year, I sold 33 properties, and that was with traveling 6 months out of that year. So my first year, 33 properties. In my second year, I sold a whopping 126 properties, but I really had no life, not at all. So I focused on all my attention on creating solutions to the common issues faced by you, me, and our clients every day in the marketplace. I started a team. That really got the ball rolling, and then 2 years later, I opened my own brokerage. So I've been in the business now for just over 7 years, and I absolutely love it. And along the way, I became a speaker at events and conferences and started my own coaching business, Bob Sink Coaching. I learned some really cool things about for sale by owners during those years of experimenting and creating systems, tools, processes, and programs that address customers' issues. Remember, it's training, constant training. And that came naturally to me because I could leave no room for error when I was guiding. Remember, I'm on a mountain. And think about it. What happens when you make a mistake on a mountain? Somebody dies. You can't make errors. I had to constantly focus. You know, people always ask me about climbing. They say, well, how many knots do you know? And I tell them I know 4 knots. Sure, I know a bunch of others, but I know 4 knots better than probably most of the population, most of the other guides in the world. I've practiced hanging upside down in my front yard, getting beat with snowballs and bats and so forth just to break my concentration, but I can tie those 4 knots no matter what. One of those knots needs to be for sale by owners for you today. So write this down. This is something I found out about for sale by owners. Please write this down. The easiest things to do are the hardest things to do because they're the easiest not to do. Think about that. The easiest things to do are the hardest things to do because they're the easiest not to do. Right? And that's why so many don't do for sale by owners. It's not that they're difficult. They're quite easy to work with. And because they're easy to work with, no one works with them, or very few work with them. So let's get focused on this webinar on for sale by owners and nothing else. 1 hour of complete focus of training, constant training will go a long way. And I'm going to tell you everything I do to get results, but you have to take action for it to work. And of course, I'll keep repeating this, you have to train, constantly train. So, okay, let's get started. So before we go through how to get for sale by owners, it's important for us to understand the whys of for sale by owners have for not working with an agent and doing it alone. Right? You have to think, what is their mindset? You have to figure out what is their mindset. So the skill lies in convincing for sale by owners that their rationale for wanting to sell their own home is also built on myths. Right? Some of the myths are, I'll net more money. The reality is, you'll probably end up selling the home for less than what we as agents could sell it for. Another one is, I'll reduce the amount of traffic through my home. The reality is, without a screening system like pre-approved buyers, everybody will come through your home for sale by owner, including the tire kickers. And I will sell my home faster since I have control over the process. Come on, that's a myth. We know that. The reality is, only 9% of homes sold in 2012 were sold as for sale by owners. That's an amazing statistic. Listen to that again. 9% of homes sold in 2012 were sold as a for sale by owner. So another myth that they have, I can handle all the paperwork requirements. The reality is, according to NAR's 2012 profile data, understanding and performing paperwork was the #1 task cited by for sale by owners as the most difficult to handle. Do you hear that? Remember, they think they can handle all the paperwork, but yet when we go back and ask them, they say that's the most difficult thing that they had a problem with. And then I can show my own home and highlight its great features better than any other agent can. And we've all been there, right? The reality is, buyers don't want the owners following them around in the house while they're viewing it. They don't want them telling all these little details while they're viewing it for the first time. They want to have private conversations amongst themselves and amongst their agent. So we also need to work on the whys agents don't work for sale by owners. Remember, this is a mindset that we have to develop. We have to really understand who we're working with first so that we then know how to combat these myths. So, and as agents, we can't buy into these myths. Some of them are, for sale by owners won't pay a buyer commission. They will as long as you show them the value of working with you. So you have to have a way to be able to articulate your value and to show them your value. Another one, for sale by owners won't consider using an agent. The first choice was not to use an agent, but statistically over 80% of them end up using an agent. Think about that. 80% of for sale by owners end up using an agent. I definitely want to be one of those that they use. And for sale by owners are difficult to convert into listings. They're only difficult if you don't understand their viewpoint and where they are coming from. You have to get to know them and therefore understand them. And one of my favorites, for sale by owners are really savvy business people who know exactly what they're doing. Come on now, unless they have done it many, many times and they have a lot of experience selling their own home, that's not going to happen. They can be and are oftentimes savvy business people, but that doesn't make them savvy for sale by owners or savvy agents at selling their own home. So please write this one down because this is a real reality. And I call it, well, it is called the 4 SWs. And it is some will, some won't, so what, someone's waiting. Remember this when you're talking to for sale by owners or any client. A lot of things that I'm going to teach you today apply to just your general business. And this is one that has very powerful meaning. So you have to write it down. Some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. The reality is that most agents steer clear of for sale by owners because they have no plan of action and or system to follow. They just haven't taken the time to really understand for sale by owners and get into the mindset of for sale by owner. Once you understand them, you can start to develop and deliver solutions for their needs. What they really get are a bunch of agents calling them, asking them if they can list their home because they are so much better. They sold so many homes, and on and on and on. The for sale by owner knows that all they need to do is ignore the agent because they know that they will not follow up. Did you hear that? The for sale by owner knows that they will not follow up. And if they don't agree to list with the agent, they know for certain that the agent will never follow up with them. They also know that few agents will ever show their property to their prospective buyers. So why work with an agent in the first place? They are just greedy. And agents don't follow up with for sale by owners because they can be a lot of work, especially if they don't have a system to follow. And that's what today is about. It's a system to follow so that you can capture those for sale by owners. The biggest reality, and the one we need to focus on today, is that most for sale by owners sign with agents, and that's usually out of desperation, not desire. Remember that. Most of them, 80 to 90%, sign with agents. That's out of desperation, not desire. So here's what we're going to learn today. In just 5 hours of work per month, I'm going to show you a system that will generate an additional $63,000 in your GCI. Yes, think about that. All right? $63,000 in additional GCI with 5 hours of work. That's really not that much. And I agree, it probably sounds too good to be true, but please write this down. You either think you can or think you can't. Either way, you're right. And who taught that? Henry Ford. Write that down. You think you can or think you can't. Either way, you're right. That's really where you have to start. You have to believe that you can dominate for sale by owners. And that is the hardest part, just believing that you can do it. So please stay focused and concentrate on what I'm trying to teach you. It's important for us and for you to first think of and understand why a for sale by owner wants to sell their own home. And was it also important to think about why agents don't go after for sale by owners? But I'm certain everyone that's on the call today realizes that this is an enormous opportunity in developing a for sale by owner program system. So let's get started. Remember, you don't want to be like all the other agents. You're on this call for a reason, and that's to learn something so you can improve your current situation. You can do that by focusing. So please keep that email shut down. Close all those browser windows. Don't look at your text messages. Just focus. And like Josh said, lock the door so we can learn this for sale by owner program. So when I realized that what for sale by owners wanted, why they took the course of action that they did, then and only then was I able to develop a radically different approach to targeting for sale by owners. Remember, I had to figure out what for sale by owners really want and how to give it to them. Please write this down because you have to do the same in anything you do in business. You must figure out what your clients want and how you're going to give it to them. What they want and how you're going to give it to them. With this in mind, I was able to develop a system that focused on relationship-based selling instead of constant badgering. That's right, this is a relation-based system rather than doing what all the other agents did, which is constantly badgering. Yes, I still wanted and want to get the listing, but I also wanted to bring the buyer. And let's face it, there's nothing better than getting two sides of a transaction, right? That's the greatest feeling, we can get two sides. So I'm going to explain to you my entire process step by step, and I promise I won't leave anything out. The concepts, the ideas, and systems that I share with you today can be implemented by you today. You can customize your business for your market and get started today. Don't wait until the new year or when you have time. You have to start today. The reality is that over 90% of agents go into hibernation at this time of the year. Yep, that's right, hibernation. They make excuses for not working, and therefore there's a huge opportunity right now. You don't need to wait until the new year, right now. No one except the people that are on this call are even contacting for sale by owners right now. Think about that. They're probably not. And I'll show you statistically they're not contacting for sale by owners, and definitely not over the holidays. Okay? Just look around your office. Is it crowded with agents right now? Unless you're having a Christmas party, it probably isn't. You know, if there's nothing fun going on, there probably aren't people working in the office or working on their business at this time. If there are people that are working in your office, which I'm sure there are, they're probably the most successful people in your office. So write this down, success leaves clues. Yep, write that down too. Success leaves clues. Follow them. Better yet, lead them. And that's what you're going to end up doing here, leading them. So let's have some fun with for sale by owners. I find that I do a much better job when I'm having fun. So I try to always have fun when working with a system or developing a new system. So what's a FSBO, or for sale by owner? By the way, I just gave you one of the keys to my success in business, have fun. Yes, have fun. I learned having fun along with 3 other simple keys to success from a very amazing book called Fish. Yep, just Fish. And write that down. You must read Fish and follow these 4 basic principles. In the book Fish, which is based on the Pike Place Fish Market in Seattle, I learned that you have to choose your attitude, you have to be present, you have to make their day, and you have to have fun. Have fun. Whenever you have fun with something, you do way better at it. So write those down. Choose your attitude, be present, make their day, and have fun. So what is a FSBO? I wrote these down. A frugal Scrooge becoming obvious. First serious buyer option. Frustrated sellers begging offers. Fantastically significant business opportunity. And believe me, we have many, many more. So which one of these describes a FSBO? Well, if you answered any and or all the above, then you're right. For me, I really like the last one. A FSBO is a fantastically significant business opportunity. Please, please, please write this down. A for sale by owner is a fantastically significant business opportunity. And what an opportunity it is. Think about it. Inventory is still low, and every market would welcome more listings, right? Whoever controls the inventory wins. The more listings, the more calls, the more inquiries, the more marketing, the more buyers. And for sale by owners are in every market. I've had agents challenge me on this one, but I've always been able to find for sale by owners in every market. If you can't find them in your market, then you're not looking in the right place. When was the last time that you showed one of your buyers a for sale by owner? Really think about it. When was the last time? Do you really think you are the only one? Agents just don't show for sale by owners to their buyers. I'll admit that. There's a rare occasion that some will show for sale by owner, but it's usually because the buyer insists on seeing it. See, I know this all too true to be all too true because that was me. I would come up with all kinds of excuses, but it came down to the fact that I didn't have a system that identified for sale by owners so I could show and sell them to my buyers. We all want motivated sellers, and think about for sale by owners as highly motivated sellers. They are so motivated that they are willing to spend a considerable amount of time of their time on trying to sell their own home. Wow, just wow, what an opportunity. But look at these amazing facts from the National Association of Realtors. Just think how difficult it is for you to understand and fill out all the paperwork when you started in the real estate business. It sure was difficult for me because I had never done it before. It was hard. And what do we have here? 18% of them said that that wasn't a problem. So what's that mean? The other 82% had a problem with it, right? Then imagine getting the right price. Even when we're experienced agents, you know that what you're doing is a difficult task setting the price. Doesn't matter how experienced you are. That's a difficult task. Well, they're having a hard time with it too. Unless you've met with many buyers and listened to their feedback, how are you supposed to, as a for sale by owner, to know what to fix, repair on your home? So this is a huge opportunity to work with your lender also and get your lender to help you with this system, because only 6% said that they could help a buyer get financing. And that to me means an amazing opportunity of 94% have no clue on how to help a buyer. Wow, that's just an opportunity, isn't it? Think about that. 94% have no clue. So make sure you write that down, that 94%, and then go and talk to your lender. Get them involved. Do you think any other agent in your market is going to go to their lender with a program that will help them get more business? Think about that. They're always coming to you asking for business. Wouldn't you blow them away if you went to them and said, look, I have a way to get you more business, and I need you to work with me on it? That would be amazing, right? You'd blow them away. They'd probably drop over. So do it. We know that for sale by owners start with good intentions. And we all know how much we spend on marketing, oftentimes way too much, right? But 94% of for sale by owners have difficulty attracting buyers. Darn, for me, that's the easy part in our business. The hard part is attracting sellers. And who's a seller? For sale by owner, right? So selling in the time they wanted, only 6% of the for sale by owners responded that they had success with selling in their time frame. If that doesn't speak to opportunity, then I don't know what does. Last but not least, 99%. Yeah, that's right. 99% of for sale by owners do not have enough time to devote to all aspects of the sale of their own home. Good news is that you have the time, and today you have the system to attract for sale by owners. You will actually have for sale by owners calling you to help them with the sale of their home. That's right, you will have for sale by owners contacting you to sell their home. So what happens? Same thing would happen to you. The for sale by owner gets frustrated. Then 89% of them sign with an agent. I don't know about you, but when I saw the statistic, it made me sick. I said, man, I'm losing opportunity here. And also, I want to be in that 80 to 90%. I want to be that agent that they choose to work with. So don't you? So here's my strategy. Once I started to focus on understanding why a for sale by owner was a for sale by owner in the first place, I started to focus on solutions to the reasoning for not working with an agent. Quite frankly, I wouldn't want to work with an agent either. And the reality hit me as I thought about it. I became an agent because I had no faith in my agents. Darn, that hurt. But it was also eye-opening. I started to understand the for sale by owner mindset because I am a for sale by owner. If only the agents that I worked with had tried to help me with buying and selling of homes instead of telling me how great they are, how many homes they sold, how much GCI they had. And by the way, that one didn't work well with me, the GCI one, because I already knew from owning my own businesses that your gross means absolutely nothing. All that matters is your net. Plus, all the agents were saying the same thing to me, and I knew they weren't all successful. So none of the agents were trying to build a relationship with me. They weren't trying to win my trust. They just figured that I had no choice but to work with them because of all of them, of every single person, of all the agents, in my opinion, They gave me silly examples for why I should work with them, how I was going to have a great experience with them. So I decided that I would build a relationship. It really is simple. I would develop a relationship with the for sale by owner before they got frustrated. Listen to that. I would develop a relationship before they got frustrated. If I knew that it was inevitable for them to get frustrated and that 80 to 90% of them would hire an agent, then why not work further upstream? The worst time to go after something is when it's in desperation. I wanted to go after them prior to the desperation, frustration, and so forth. So what do all for sale by owners want? They want to avoid paying commission. They want to avoid tire kickers. They want benefits of an MLS listing. They want to follow up with interested buyers. They want more exposure. And ultimately, they want to sell their own home. So what got me started was this. Well, the story goes more like this. You can see on your screen here, I had these brochure boxes. And in my office, I had a very large office for my team, and I had my own private large office. And then we had this room that we put all of these brochure boxes in. And we had tried using brochure boxes, but we found them to be quite ineffective. They actually caused more problems than anything. We would get complaints they weren't filled. We'd get complaints that the brochures were torn out. So the seller was complaining they weren't filled. The buyer was saying, oh boy, this agent's a slacker, doesn't have the brochure boxes filled. And I took them all out from all of our listings. So I had a couple hundred of these in this room. Well, then my team was growing, so I had to get out of my big office because I needed to put more team members into there. And I went into this small room with all these brochure boxes. And one day I just happened to knock one. I hit it, and they all went down like dominoes and fell all over the floor. And I just remember putting my head in my hands and thinking, oh my gosh, these things are ridiculous. I hate these things. I've got to get rid of these. And then it just hit me. I said, wow, who sees value in these brochure boxes? Sellers do. I mean, it's really frustrating for me to keep them filled, and, you know, they were always getting damaged and kids were destroying them, but no matter what, the seller thought they were valuable. And who else thought they would be valuable? I bet for sale by owners might. So I knew I was kind of on to something. You know, I thought the for sale by owner would think they were valuable. And after all, I wasn't using the darn things. So I said, wow, here we go. Maybe I'm on to something. Maybe this is the for sale by owner program, or something I can use in my for sale by owner program. So I then started thinking, I said, wow, come to think of it, their sign wasn't great either. I'd always laugh when I saw a for sale by owner sign. Darn, I laugh now when I see many real estate signs. They all look the same, say the same thing. You know, and if I could, I'd park an 18-wheeler in front of every one of the houses that we have, advertising it for sale with huge lights, you know, saying for sale. Because really, we don't want to say, shh, don't tell anybody it's not for sale. And I thought, wow, this sign is so small, it doesn't really speak to anybody. Just doesn't do it for me. So I thought, wow, this would be a valuable tool for sale by owner. I thought they would love the brochure box. Why not take it up one more step and improve their signage too? So which one would you prefer? What if I offer the for sale by owners a sign too? Nothing much better of value than that, correct? Think back to earlier when we talked about buyers and sellers, and I said whoever controls the inventory, which is signs, controls the market, which is buyers, and so on. Do you think this might build a relationship with a seller? I'm helping them, right? But I had to fit it into the process flow that made sense. But with these two basic, simple ideas, I knew I was onto something, and I had the foundation of my for sale by owner system set. Now it was time to work on the details. So how do I get for sale by owners? This took me a long time to figure out, and I really had to think like a for sale by owner. I wanted to make sure that I answered all their concerns, and so I started creating ways to help them avoid paying commission. Yep, that's right. I helped them figure out how to avoid paying commission. I also started on the nemesis of anyone in sales, and that is the dreaded tire kicker. I was determined to help them avoid tire kickers. I also wanted them to have all the benefits of the MLS listing, and let's face it, the MLS gets buyers and agents, so why not help the for sale by owner with both of those? I knew that most agents' downfall in business is their follow-up with buyers and sellers. So I was determined to help them with follow-up with their buyers. That's right, with the for sale by owners buyers, I'm going to help them with follow-up. I also knew that for sale by owners marketing was poor at best. So I made it a mission to help them get more exposure for their home. And last, but certainly not least, I wanted to help them sell their home. Wow, I was getting a bit out of control. My team told me I was, but I also knew that what made me such a successful mountaineer was that I was always comfortable being uncomfortable. So please write that down. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect the same results, because we all know that that's a definition of insanity. So I developed this incredible program so that I could get their listings and bring the buyers. So let's go through the process flow for sale by owners. First, I had to identify the for sale by owners I wanted to work with. You need to be very specific with what for sale by owners you do and don't want to work with, and only go after the ones that you do want to work with. This is a very important distinction. I do not go after every for sale by owner. It is impossible to develop a relationship with every for sale by owner. You must be very selective so you can give them the appropriate attention. Did you hear that? You have to be selective so you can give them the proper attention. You need to understand that first and foremost, I believe you have to capitalize on everything free. That's right, everything free first, and then work your way up to develop the habit system of working for sale by owners. You may never need to hire a service to help you with for sale by owners, but there are plenty of free services, starting with Craigslist. Come on, for sale by owners put all their information on Craigslist. They tell you how much they want to sell their home for. They tell you all the details of their home. Heck, they even tell you the details that you would never want to be told. So to get started, you want to identify 5, 10, 15 for sale by owners. Remember your target market and stick to it. That's the downfall of most agents. They go too big. They go huge, and then they can't give really good service to them. You can also drive through your target market and identify for sale by owners. They give you all the information you need with their signs. Now you have to look hard because the signs are so small, and oftentimes they're laying on the ground and so forth. You now have their address, you have their phone number, and sometimes you even have a piece of paper or a brochure. Why not ask whoever puts up your signs, that's if somebody does, to take a photo for sale by owner sign when they see it and send it to you. Give them a way to record the information. In other words, make it easy for somebody to help you, because if it's not easy, they won't do it. And then get your friends, family, clients, everyone you know involved in looking for sale by owners for you. Again, you have to start free. You don't need to spend a lot of money on this. Start free. And of course, you can look in the newspaper. Just pick the source or sources that you want to use and give them 100% effort. Very important to only work with 5 to 15 at a time, no more, because less is more. Did you hear that? Less is more. And then when you get really good, when you really got this system going, you want to sign up for a system like the RedX, which will supply all the leads for you. And you can go to redxpromo.com, and that's my private promo code, and you'll get 33% off the setup fee for RedX. That's right. Write this down. It's redxpromo.com. So if you want to sign up for RedX, you can go ahead and you'll get 33% off. So this business is really about 3 things: lead generation, lead conversion, and lead follow-up. If you have too many leads, then you definitely won't convert them. And forget about even trying to follow up with them. Less is more. Please write that down too. Less is more. Okay? You don't always need more and more. Less is more. So the next step in my process flow is capture their information. Develop a spreadsheet with the methods that you are going to record the potential for sale by owners. I developed a very simple spreadsheet and tracking sheet for our for sale by owners. Here's what it looks like, just in Excel. Once I had the tracking spreadsheet done, I then was able to transfer that information into my contact management system. But please note, you do not have to have a contact management system in order to be successful with for sale by owners. It helps, yes, but it's not necessary. You can do the same thing with paper, note cards, Outlook. Where there is a will, there is a way. Figure it out and start without spending money. Did you start without spending money? Make this very simple. The next step, I created action plans that told us when to call, what information to send, and when to send it. This is imperative because you have to have a system to follow. Every client receives the same information, but the timing is different for everyone. You must be structured in order to convert the for sale by owners. Remember, one of the reasons why they don't use an agent in the first place is no follow-up. You can do one or two things here. I started by dropping brochure boxes off at homes. I would leave them on their front porch or in the front of their garage, and I wanted to make sure that they could see them, okay, so that as soon as they came home, they saw that brochure box and grabbed it. Many of them would call us immediately to ask us to come and pick up the box. I actually put a note on the back, said, if you want us to pick this up, come and give this number a call, and we'll come and get it. Or they would call asking about the box. Either way, we use this as an opportunity to talk to the for sale by owner and explain that the information is free. We're just trying to help them sell their home. We're trying to build a relationship. Or you can also do what we do, and we do them both about the same. So I tell my clients to test this and experiment with. If you have lots of buyers like we do, then calling them to schedule an appointment to see their home works well. Just remember, you're not calling to list their home. Think about that. You're not calling to list their home. You're calling to schedule an appointment to see their home in order to see if it matches the criteria for any of your buyers. And of course, we have scripts for that. We created scripts for common objections and questions that we were experiencing for the for sale by owners. There weren't many, and we found it quite easy to talk with for sale by owners, but we had to have it in writing. So write your scripts. What are you going to say when you're talking to the for sale by owners? Very important step in the process. Okay, you have to have that done. So present the brochure box and the marketing toolkit. So here you go. What goes into it? A brochure box. We have for sale by owner. Put a nice big sticker on it for the marketing toolkit. But what's more important is what's actually inside the box in the marketing toolkit. So here are the items that we include in our marketing toolkit and brochure boxes. First off, it's a letter. This letter really says it all. It tells them what they're getting, what additional items are available, how to get started, how the for sale by owner program that we have will benefit, and most important, because no one believes you will do anything just to help, why I'm willing to give them all this stuff for free. Okay, so I make it very obvious to them why they're doing it. So let me read part of our letter to you. So you may be asking yourself, Mr. or Mrs. for sale by owner, why would a real estate agent offer to do all of this for us? It's simple. I will also benefit in one or more ways. One, I may be able to match one of my hundreds of interested buyers to your home, and I would like to be the agent who earns the buyer's commission. Two, if you credit me in any way with helping you sell your home, I'm hoping you'll mention me to friends, neighbors, and family who may also be interested in selling their homes. I also hope you will provide me with a testimonial. That's fair, right? Three, if a buyer looks at your home, but for whatever reason may not be interested in making an offer, I'd like the opportunity to show them other homes that may better match their specific home buying criteria. Four, when your home sells, you will need another place to live, and I would like to represent you as the buyer's agent and help you find that home. Think about that. Sellers are also buyers. I'm just telling them the truth. I'd like to represent you. Five, even when you sell your own home, you can't avoid completing all the documentation required by banks and government agencies. I can manage that part of the transaction for you at a nominal fee. Okay, remember, this is answering their question, why should I work with you? You know, and what's in it for you, for me, for the agent? What's in it for you as the agent? Okay? And last, if you should decide to list your home with a real estate agent, I would appreciate the opportunity to be interviewed for the job. Think of that wording, and remember this kind of wording. You need to put this in your system as well. You want them to give you an opportunity, or you'd appreciate the opportunity to be interviewed for the job. So that letter explains everything. Tells them all about our tools that we're giving them, the selling guide, our brochure, everything. What else is available, how to get started, benefits to them, and then how we benefit as the agents. So it's important to stay focused on helping the for sale by owner, and we want to help them to sell their own home. So we give them a brochure on how to do just that. Why not? If you give them a way to sell their own home, what's the worst thing that can happen? They sell it, but we already found out that, 8-9% are the only ones that sell it. So we go over the 10 items that they have to do, and we tell them how to do them in order to get a successful sale. So help, 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 or as we like to say, give, give, give. And if you give, 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 you end up getting. So that reminds me of a book that I just read. And please write this book down because it's amazing. And it's really our for sale by owner program, but for social media. And I just read Jab, 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 Right Hook. Absolutely fantastic book, and uses a similar formula to what we are going over today. So write that down. Jab, 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 right hook. We were always saying give, 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 and then you get. So see the similarities? Once you read the book, you'll say, aha, now I get it. Okay? So many of the items that we give to the for sale by owner are the same that we give to any listing. We want the sellers to market their home correctly and present it in a way that helps them sell their home. So I created, about 6 years ago, a way to showcase the homes we sell. I focused on being a buyer first. I thought about being a buyer and what the experience of buyers was when they previewed one of my homes and my competitors' homes. And I found that why they were getting in the way of packaging was poor at best. Did you hear that? What they were getting, the information they were getting in the way of packaging of that product, that home, was poor at best. Usually it was just a single piece of paper, that was printed out from the MOS, if anything. So I set out to create a powerful brochure that would be available for any and all buyers that would visit one of my listings. I made sure it answered the buyers' questions. See, I knew the questions that the buyers were asking because I listened and wrote them down. I then figured out that if the buyers are always asking the same questions, why don't I give them the answers before they ask? So our brochure was created to do just that. Every buyer wanted to see pictures. I know all of your buyers want to see pictures, right? Sometimes they want you to go out and take additional pictures of somebody else's listing. So why do they want those photos? So they can remember the homes. They also want to know, think about how difficult it was for a buyer to remember the homes. So give them a brochure. When they added all the features, taxes, and additional details of the properties, when we added all that, people were like, this is amazing. I know so much about it. I know the taxes. I know all the features about the home, when the roof was installed, when the new furnace was set up, everything about it. Okay? I can't remember how many times buyers ask for the utilities and utility costs of homes. So I make sure that all that information is included so there is no confusion. It's actually helped me sell many homes because agents have told me that, hey, it's come down to 2 homes and you have the utility information in your property, and we've been asking the other agent for the utility information. So they also tell me they're going to add those to their brochures, but it's very rare that they even have a brochure, let alone add that utility information. We also describe the neighborhood and include the URLs and important information for the neighborhood. Same with the school district. And how about a survey? That'll help. Also put a Google view of it, of the property. That's very powerful if you put the Google view, the Google Maps view of the home that you're selling. So you can see how all this will not only help a for sale by owner, but think how it will be used in a sale of your current listings too. It's about presentation. So it's understanding what a buyer wants and then giving it to them, right? Like we're trying to today to understand what a for sale by owner wants, give it to them, so that we can then work with them. So we build that relationship. So next was my home selling guide. This took me a long time to come up with, but you need one of these. You have to have one of these in your arsenal for sale by owners. And I say definitely for listings, because this is what I really started it for, was listings originally. I wanted to answer the seller's question prior to them becoming questions. So our home selling guide goes through step by step how we're going to sell their home. Do you see how this would be a powerful piece for sale by owner, or any seller for that matter? It tells them exactly what they need to do to help you with the sale of their home, and also tells them exactly what you're going to do to get their home sold. Think about, is your competition giving their listings anything like this? If your market is anything like mine, then the answer is a resounding no. Maybe a few do, but if you're like me, you would rather compete against a few rather than everyone else. Keep it going by offering the for sale by owner a system for you to bring all your buyers through their home. They don't need the MLS, they need showings. Showings create excitement, especially when the buyer is presented with a home selling brochure. With my program, we just match buyers up with every listing. My buyer in waiting program, think about that and write that down, lists every seller and we match them with every buyer, even for sale by owners. The greatest thing is that virtually no one else is doing this. You don't skip homes that you don't have listed, do you? Right? If they're listed with another agent, you're going and showing it, so why worry if it's listed as a for sale by owner? They're sellers too, and every seller will pay a commission. Sure, there's an anomaly once in a while with a for sale by owner, but with a system like this, the seller will have no choice but to pay you a buyer's commission. And the great thing is, since you're building a relationship with them, they will pay you a listing commission too. All right, nothing better than both sides. Step 6, if you remember, was one of the first pieces that I developed, kind of part of the foundation of my program. What it does is it keeps you in contact with the seller even when they say they won't pay commission, they won't list, and so on. It keeps you in contact with them. Remember, give, give, give if you want to get. Write that down if you haven't already. Give, give, give if you want to get. So what do you think that the for sale by owner is going to like? Do you think they're going to like a sign like this? Of course they are. And then we have on that sign, we activate a hotline for them to check on. What we do is any phone system, let me back up here, any phone system can do this. What you can have is an 800 number that it comes into your office, okay, and then for whatever code they press, you could say code number 1. You can have that number then forwarded to the seller. We use a service called OneBox, but remember, I don't want you to add expense to this system. You can have the number on your sign forwarded to any other number you want. Just set it up as an extension. And let me give you an example of how this works. So a buyer drives by the for sale by owner property. The toll-free number is then called. The caller reaches the hotline, right? And then it says, enter the ID number. Enter the ID number. And it says, thank you for calling the for sale by owner information line. Please enter the property ID number now. So the property ID number is whatever extension you want, and as soon as they dial that number, the seller is notified. Now with any voice over IP system, VoIP system, it will track the number that came in. And you can also do things like what we do, where we set up, if you're a buyer and would like to talk directly to the seller, press 1. If you are an agent and would like to talk directly to the seller, press 2. That then weeds out the agents, so then we only have buyers to call back. So that process works very well, and remember, your job is to sell that home, to help them sell their own home. All right? So there you have it. Get the listing, you bring the buyer, or both. I continue to crush it with for sale by owners because I continue to add value and show value to for sale by owners all the time. And I back it up with my favorite nail in the coffin USP, or distinctive capability, and that's my one-day listing guarantee. We all know for sale by owners don't want to sign a long-term contract. Heck, who on this call wants to sign a long-term contract with someone? See, I always bet that if I wouldn't do something or I wouldn't feel comfortable doing something, then my clients or potential clients probably will feel the same way. So my contract is always one day. If you don't like me, fire me. If you don't think I'm the best, fire me. I know a lot of people use performance guarantees and so forth. I like to be more direct and say, if you don't like me, fire me. Your contract's only one day. So let's look at a scenario with a for sale by owner, an actual for sale by owner. These are the notes, some of the notes from my contact management system. So you can see April 9th, we dropped off this brochure box at the seller's home. I actually dropped this brochure box off. It was an area that I wanted to be in, saw the for sale by owner sign, and dropped the box off. We then talked to the for sale by owner, very first call, and he said he had no interest in listing. Look at that, no interest in listing. All right, most people would stop there. All right, the next call, a few calls later, he said he'd be traveling and won't be back until the 16th. All right, but he said best thing for you to do is tell me what your fees are. Right, that's all we wanted to know. So we have in our scripts how to handle that. we did an additional follow-up, and then on the 18th, we scheduled an actual appointment. And I met with the seller and did a presentation. He stated then he will not list the home with an agent. And I said, well, I don't want to list your home. I want to sell your home. All right? And I told him about the sign and so forth, explained the process that I could put a sign up. No, I didn't have signs. All right? I did not have signs at this time. Didn't have them. No one had asked for them before. So I didn't worry about that. I hadn't spent the money on that yet, but he called us and said, or he confirmed with us when we called him and followed up that he wanted the sign. But he wouldn't give us permission to follow up with the buyers that called the sign. Remember, part of the way of having that voice system, that phone system, is you're capturing the buyer's number. So if you get permission from the seller to follow up with them to sell their home, you're winning. You're getting more buyers. Still, you can see no activity on June 7th. But he agreed to let us call potential buyers and follow up with them. Still no activity on the 23rd. On the 30th, he said, okay, I want to talk to you, and we presented him with an equity evaluation. Equity evaluation to us is what most call a comparative market analysis. Yes, we put a lot more into it, but a CMA, when I started in real estate, I didn't even know what that meant. But I understand equity, and most sellers understand equity, so we call ours an equity evaluation. Immediately, the seller said he wanted to cut our commission. I refused, and also discussed our $9.95 additional commission. On the 8th of July, our listing paperwork was sent. On the 16th, look at this, the 16th of September, we closed on his transaction. But even better, on the 12th, he referred us to his son. He said, I need you to work with my son to sell his home and help them purchase a new home. So how about turning a transaction around? So I sold his home in 5 weeks. Sales price was $265,000. Upfront fees was $995. You got that right, $995 upfront when we took the listing. Additional commission of $345. Total commission of $9,290. And he's now a reformed for sale by owner, and my kids have a really nice trampoline. So last year I started teaching my program to friends and then to my coaching clients. And I want you to hear how one of them implemented this program. His name's Sean Moore. So let me just get this switched over here for you.
Hi, I'm Sean Moore from Salt Lake City, Utah. I'd like to share some of my successes with Bob Sank's For Sale by Owner program, tell you a little bit about what it meant for my business. A couple years back, my business was very heavily weighted on the buyer side, and I always lacked a way to predictably get listings. I had a couple listings here and there, and we'll get most of my listings from my buyer pool, those folks and buyers that we were working with that had a home to sell, but never was able to really tap into the For Sale by Owner market, the expired market, those sellers that you know want to sell, need to sell, and could never get them really calling us. We tried postcards, we tried a number of different things, a lot of the same things that the other agents did, and as we all know, For Sale by Owners and expireds particularly get hounded by real estate agents, and so they automatically have pretty much just a wall up and don't want to talk to real estate agents. They think that we're all the same. They've heard the same line from many of us as far as the scripting goes that most of us have learned in the past. And was talking to Bob about that, and he said, hey, we've got a For Sale by Owner program that we're using in our business very successfully. Why don't you give this a try? And I'd love to hear how it works in your business anyways. It's working great for us. And I'd love to see it work well in your business and help you succeed, with it the same way we are. So Bob shared this program with me. It's called his For Sale by Owner program, and it's a completely unconventional approach to hitting For Sale by Owners or any seller in particular. What he went and did was gave the For Sale by Owner and the seller exactly what they wanted, and that's to sell their home themselves. Show them how to sell their home themselves, save on the commission if they can, and show them what we do to sell a home. And he put together a For Sale by Owner marketing toolkit. This happens to be the one that we've got together for our business. We just copied what Bob had in his content-wise. It comes with a letter. I'm not going to go into all the details of what's in it. I'm just going to give you a quick overview so you kind of understand what's involved. But it comes with a letter that just says, hey, we know you're trying to sell your home yourself. Here's what we do as an agent. Let's stack the odds in your favor so that you hopefully have a successful home sale. and it walks them through the program and some of the things that are available in it. It's a very well written letter. It gets their mind thinking in a different direction of what we do to sell a home, because they think we just put a sign in the yard and put it on the MLS, and that's all they think we do. The next is a guide of the 10-step process to sell their home themselves, the things they should and shouldn't be doing and spending time and money on. Then it goes into some of the things that we do to sell a home. It shows the difference of, we have one specific flyer here that shows the difference of the money they're going to get by getting more exposure through a real estate agent versus themselves. And the more things they can do like us, the more exposure they're going to have and a better chance of getting a higher dollar amount. We've got some different things that show some where we spend money on, what we do to sell a home, how to get more money for their home. We have our ultimate home selling system in here. This is a 54-page color brochure of walking them exactly through the process of what we do to sell homes and those things that we do. And then it gives them an example of a professional home flyer that they should have in their home. It's not a one-page flyer that's sitting outside their house, kind of the things that we do. What this does, I don't know, subconsciously or what, but when they start going through this, it really is selling ourselves without having to sell ourselves. We're trying to say, hey, copy us, do what we do, here's what we do. They start going through it and think, oh man, these guys do a lot more than put the home on the MLS, stick a sign in the yard. There's a lot more to getting a top dollar for my home than what I may have thought. In most cases, they frankly walk through it and look a little overwhelmed and think, hey, that's a great idea, but that's a little bit more than I bargained for. Give us a call up, we get an interview, we list the house. That's a good case scenario. Many times that happens. Many times it opens the door for further conversations for us. What it really does is breaks down that wall of communication where they feel like, hey, we were there to help them. We reached out to them, and that law of reciprocity now kicks in. They start calling us up. Most of us all know and have heard the statistics that most people interview or call one agent. And so if you're that agent that they call or get interviewed, you get the listing. And this stacks the odds in your favor, and it's a very easy process. There's no hard selling. It's literally dropping off a packet and asking them and saying, hey, we noticed you're selling your home. Here's a marketing toolkit to help you sell your home yourselves without an agent. Our information's in there, but really we put our information in there so that you can copy it. Do what we do, and you're going to have a better chance of selling your home. Ultimately, most of them can't do what we do, and it also educates them on we do a lot more than they think we do. And it's a great way, and it really increased my business. It really increased what we were able to do on the listing side of it. It was a predictable program and system that we put in place in our business, and immediately turned around our listing inventory from carrying about 5 to 6 listings at a time to 15 to 20 listings at any given time, just by implementing the For Sale by Owner program. So anybody that's thinking about it, if you're thinking about doing a short on listing inventory, it's a great way to add to your listing inventory, and I've had great success with it, just copying exactly what Bob did and continuing to do it. You're going to drop off some packets and you wait for them to call you back and you follow through with what you say you're going to do. You're going to have great success with the program. So I wish you all the best, and I hope this was helpful in kind of learning and hearing from somebody that was able to put this program into place in their business and make a change. Have a great.
Okay, so a couple key points there that when you were listening to Sean there. Sell without selling, okay, and law of reciprocity. Those are two very important things. So you need to get started now. Pick your target area and price range. Identify the for sale by owners through the different sources that we talked about. Market to your target, right? Okay, go for the relationship, not the listing. Give them something they want for free. Bring in your buyers. Stay in touch regularly, and be ready with your offer when they are ready to list. Okay? So making this work, here's what you have to do to make this work, and write these down. You have to set specific goals. Start small and work up from there. So yes, you start with specific goals, but you got to start small and work up from there. Keep your investment modest until you gain momentum. Very important. That's why I say you don't go after tons. 5, 10. That's why I'm saying only 5 hours a week. You get 63,000. What happens when you go after the big whole market? You end up doing nothing. Okay? You have to be persistent. You have to be consistent and persistent with your message. So be persistent. You have to continue to learn and share ideas and copy as much of my For Sale by Owner program as you want. That's right. Just copy as much of it as you want. This is an overview of it. You know, we have all these different things. Getting started guide, the process flow, the information sheet. You need the scripts. You need the action plans and so forth. Everything went through. And you can see it's a lot of stuff to do a For Sale by Owner program. It doesn't have to be perfect starting right off, but it is a lot of stuff. So fortunately, we also offer this program. I know a lot of you thinking, wow, it's a lot to do, but it doesn't take that long. You just have to focus on it. But if you're like me and you'd like to, follow somebody else's lead and so forth, we have the system available to you. So there's a couple options. From the last call, we learned that some people wanted to break it up. So 3 payments of $290. And now remember, there's a 90-day money-back guarantee. On the last card, Josh, remember, we had 30-day. And people said, well, it might take me more than 30 days. Look, I'm so sure that this will work. If it doesn't, it's 90 days. If you can't put this in place in 90 days, then just contact us and we'll give you the money back. You make 2 payments. You save $40. It's $415. Or you can save $75 and make a payment of $795. So with this, you get 2 additional listing products. You get my home selling brochure, which we talked about, and you get my home selling guide. You also get a bonus, my 1-day listing agreement toolkit. So you know exactly how I do listings, how I do the 1-day listing. You also get another bonus, a 1-hour coaching call with me. I'll go over your business and so forth, and I'm certain that I can add some tips or some success stories to help you on your way to get more business. And bonus 3 was the objection handling videos for everybody. I'm going to put that up right now. So there's a special bonus for the webinar attendees, everybody that's on here. And then you need to go to objectionhandlingvideos.com and you'll be able to download my 20 role-playing videos of all common objections. So I know Josh is going to put this in to the comments. And there's the password.
All right, good
so any
stuff,
questions
Bob.
that you might have? So Josh, questions, I just wanted them to go to, they can send me an email at coaching@bobsaintcoaching.com, okay? Or they can go to the FSBO, for sale by owner club.com,